We are more fulfilled when we are involved in something bigger than ourselves. John Glenn. And of course, my conversation with Brandon Elliott, he and his wife, Adrian, that certainly describes their efforts as it relates to the St. Jude Dream Home. And certainly it describes my next guest, Amber Olsen, who is the founder of the United MSD Foundation. We'll tell you more about that here in just a second. She's also the president of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited about that for her as well. So, Amber, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
That's doing good. Hey, listen, the one of the last couple of times that we visited, I read about you something so I thought that I had about you, and here's what I wrote: your drive and determination is inspiring. You're a living example of a mother who was dealt a challenging blow, but made a commitment to make a difference in other people's lives who face similar circumstances. You know, what was so tough about hearing your story is that, as we learned with COVID, genetic engineering is something they can go dive into if you have the money to do so. But when you're dealing with rare genetic disorders, when they're super rare, in the case of Willow's story, it's very hard to get the focus. It's very hard to get the money centered on her specific situation. And that's really sort of the driving cause of the United MSD Foundation, isn't it?
It is. I mean, we've discovered a problem, that had a solution, and we were like, if it's just money, let's solve it. If we can save kids, no matter how many, let's do it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And we'll be talking in just a few minutes about the zebra run that's coming up, and I want to chat a little bit about the leadership of the chamber. It's exciting to see you come into that role. But why don't we do this for people who haven't heard it? Just real quickly, tell Willow's story.
Sure. So Willow is now 9. When she was 2 years old, she was, she grew and ran and walked, and she seemed like the typical 2-year-old, but she's never spoken. And so we took her to her pediatrician, and the pediatrician referred us to a neurologist, and Dr. Marcus Lee here on the coast. And she was quickly, fortunate for us, quickly diagnosed with this very rare condition called multiple sulfatase deficiency. And it's basically like Alzheimer's in a child. So Dr. Lee said, she is going to decline. He had never seen a child with it. And he referred us to Children's in Jackson. We went to the doctor, the specialist in Jackson, and he said, we were expecting for him to say, go to St. Jude. I know you just talked to Brandon, go somewhere and do something. My mom has stage 4 cancer, which is fatal. This disease that Willow has is fatal, but they do chemo for cancer, and she's still alive. And so we're like, well, let's go do treatment to help her. And the doctor said, no, there is no treatment. And then we discovered over the next year that there was treatment possibility, gene therapy, but it just never got funded because there's just too few kids. There's no business in it. A pharmaceutical company just can't take it on because there's not enough kids to make a profit.
It's interesting. I don't know that I asked you this question, but since you've spent so much time researching it and understanding it, how many families, not specific with MSD, but how many families find themselves in a similar situation where there's an illness or a genetic deficiency or whatever it might be that leads to very little focus because there's no money to be made focusing on it?
Yeah, millions. There's millions of kids and adults that are affected by rare disease. There's more people affected by rare disease than cancer and AIDS combined. It's just that there's 8,000 rare diseases. So, each of us have 1,000 here, 1,000 there. There's just not enough.
Wow, it's just an unbelievable situation. Well, anyway, as I shared a second ago from that quote, you decided to not just rest on your laurels and accept Willow's fate. You decided to do something about it. So you formed the United MSD Foundation. And what do you tell me about your efforts these days?
Yeah, so we started kind of grassroots, and I pushed Willow around the Biloxi Seafood Festival, and we sold T-shirts, and we've been all around the coast, and the coast people have just been amazing. Our Ocean Springs Rotary Club the other Rotary clubs, just, donors across the coast helped us initially and got us kickstarted and paid for the initial mouse study. Because at first it was like, yeah, you're a mom, it sounds great, but can this really be done? Can you really fix a neurological disease? And so once we did the mouse study, we're doing the toxicology study now, and that's the last step before clinical trial. So we went nationwide a couple of years in, and now we're really international. We have donors across the world that are helping push this, and we have now 7 family foundations. We all work together. We all fund the research, all parents like me out there fundraising to get this done. So it's just become a global movement, and we will have a treatment, hopefully here in the next couple of years. So we're almost there.
Amber, I guess you knew through your own passion that it would take off. Has it exceeded your expectations about the global acceptance of your effort?
Oh yeah, that's been amazing. The fact that, we have student ambassadors that are pre-med students across the country that there's a waiting list to get into our student ambassador program so that they can help us. The smartest kids, in the country are on there. And, I'm just so humbled by the professionals and the donors and the people. One of our big donors, she's a teacher in Massachusetts. And, she said, I'm like, why do you do this? And she said, I just, I know you're going to win. I know you're going to do this. I know you're going to get a clinical trial and these kids are going to get treated. So, people want to see the fruits of their, hard donated money, and we're showing them that. So, it's humbling to me because it's a lot.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I am curious about this though. What led to the issue of not having a cure, as we discussed, there's so few of them who have this disease that it's not a good business case to go focus on it. Mm-hmm. However, have there been nonprofit pharmacy companies emerge that would then focus on things like this?
They're trying to figure out, because it is such a huge problem, trying to figure this out. There's some NIH funding, and now there's some private partnerships with pharma, big pharma like Pfizer and Novartis and stuff are contributing. And they're like, how do we fix this problem and also help create a smoother transition to a commercialized drug? Because that's part of the problem too. The reason it's so expensive to make drugs is because the FDA process is very extensive and takes years, and the pharma's paying for all that. So if they can streamline that process and make it cheaper to make drugs, then they can the barrier gets lower, and you can create a drug for a few hundred kids. Right now, it's just not possible to make a profit. So they're trying to use the diseases and create a more efficient process at the same time, but it's millions of dollars. It really takes probably 30 million to at this point to make a treatment available, where insurance is going to pay for it. And that's hard to do. If you're a business owner and you can have a disease that has a few hundred kids, or you can have one that has a few thousand, I get it.
Yeah.
But as a society, we've got to figure out how to fix this, because, a few hundred kids still matters.
It creates such a moral and ethical, mm-hmm. dilemma for those who are in those decisions to make these decisions. And it's an extraordinarily important conversation to have when you consider, as you pointed out, 8,000 rare diseases that don't have, a collaborative, ongoing, big time big pharma effort around it. Incredible, really.
Sometimes our answer is, well, parents will just do it. And it's like, we're actually having a documentary made on this whole journey, because it's like, to expect parents to do this, parents have dying children. I'm taking care of a dying child who's not going to probably receive this treatment. And so, we need to think of a better way than just having parents and communities do this.
God bless you, Amber. You've been such an inspiration. That's why, you dealt this challenging blow that you and your family have, and then ultimately you decided to make an impact on other people's lives generationally, and it's a noble cause, and it's important, and I'm very touched by it. Hey, so the Zebra Run's coming up. We'll talk about that now, and if we don't get it, we don't have enough time, we'll finish on the other side, and we'll also talk about the chamber here in just a second. But Tell me about the Zebra Run coming up on March the 4th.
Yeah. So when we needed, we were trying to create a fundraiser that had more broad appeal because, there's no other child in Mississippi that had my daughter's disease. And it's like, so, yeah, it's one child. And how do we rally people around a cause for, one child in this area? And, we talked about the 8,000 rare diseases and the fact that there's so many people. I mean, every time I give a talk, out of 40 people, somebody has been impacted by a rare disease, like their uncle has a rare disease or rare form of cancer. So we're like, let's do an event where we can bring all the rare disease people out, so these thousands of people that have rare diseases. And so that's where we came up with the Zebra Run for rare disease. And zebra is the symbol for rare disease. When doctors go to medical school, they're told to look for horses, not zebras. Like, don't go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what it is, but just, it's cystic fibrosis, or it's the most common disease. And we're saying you have to have a diagnosis. A diagnosis is, even if it's bad, is key to being able to treat it properly. So, giving a name to a disease when people are like, I don't know what's wrong with me, it's huge. So we want them to find the zebras. So we created the Zebra Run, and this is our 6th year. It started at Fort Maripol. We, do a run, walk, 5K, and now it's international. So we have people that run in Spain and Australia. We try to get all 50 states, a runner in all 50 states. I think we ended up with like 47 of them.
So Amber, let's do this. We'll pick up right there. We ended up with 47, and we'll pick it up on the other side. But this is Amber Olsen, who's with actually the founder of the United MSD Foundation. We'll continue the conversation on the other side. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have my friend Amber Olsen, who's the founder of the United MSD Foundation. And when we went to break, we were talking about the Zebra Run that's coming up on March the 4th. And, it's interesting because there's international involvement in Zebra Run. There are 47 states. She hoped to have gotten 50, but man, you'll get 50 next year. What's it, tell me about the race itself and how can people be engaged if they want to be involved?
Yeah, so we're still taking sponsors. We have huge community support. And so we love to have businesses sponsor. We have a ton of benefits for them. We have a large Facebook following, and so and then we do news to WLOX and WXXV. So, they will have opportunities there. And then we want runners, and we would love to have runners all throughout the state. So we always get, share it on your social media. We share the map and show where we're at. And people just really jump into that because they want to be, the runner in Colorado. So, so it's been, really good participation. You dress up in black and white. It's fun. We have they wear black and white tutus. And, we had a couple last year that actually dressed up as zebra. We do a costume contest. The shed comes out, Chick-fil-A, we have great food, and it's a lot of fun. And we have little kids come out that have rare conditions. And this is their place. It's like, there's no Alzheimer walk for them, or, it's their, there's no Charcot-Marie-Tooth walk. It's like, this is their place to come out and feel like they belong.
It's so interesting that Willow is the only child in Mississippi who has MSD. And through the Zebra Run, you get an opportunity to focus on other children who have rare disorders, just like Willow has. Yeah. And the international attention that this has garnered. First of all, congratulations on your efforts to stay focused on this. I mean, good Lord, it takes a lot of motherly love and commitment, and taking your tough situation. I can't help but think about Robin Roberts' mother, and Robin Roberts, who often said that you have to make your message, and you did that in a big way, didn't you?
Yes, definitely. We were dealt these cards, and they were not great. But a little girl that I look at every single day, and I say, we have made your life a legacy.
Yes.
She's made a bigger difference than most of us ever will.
God bless you, my friend. God bless you for that. Anything else about the Zebra Run before we shift gears?
No, it's April. Well, you'll have the date and the flyer and everything. It's not April. It's March 4th. March 4th. Yeah. Somebody said March 4th, like it's March 4th.
Yeah. Right. March 4th. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy to remember for sure. Anyway, thank you for sharing that with us. Man, I'm so delighted to see that you're the president of the Coast Chamber, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber of Commerce, working with Adele and the team. I love the way that the chamber will have sort of a big company leader for a period of time, and maybe a small company leader, small business, and then in your case, a nonprofit. But it's a great opportunity to sort of, spread out the leadership. What you're learning in your international quest is really important to the Coast Chamber, because it applies. A lot of the leadership skills apply and so much of the work the Chamber is doing these days. But congratulations for that.
Thank you. I mean, it's my chance to give back to the Chamber that has helped me so much over the years. I mean, I joined the Chamber in 2007 when I first started my staffing business, Next Staff. And I've done Coast, gotten the top 40 under 40. I've participated in every step of the way. I was in Leadership Gulf Coast. We created the Women Entrepreneur, that is now a program under the Chamber. And so they have walked the path with me and are a huge part of my business success, and then the foundation success, because, relationships is how we get everything done. And that's what the Chamber provides. And so I'm a huge fan of the Chamber.
Yeah, it's interesting. We spent all of our time talking about the MSD Foundation. We didn't spend any time talking about your actual business. Yes. But you're a person who wears multiple hats, aren't you?
Yes. I started Next Staff, in 2007, and so it's been, I think, 14 years now. Just an incredible amount of time, and we've had great success. So yes, definitely mention my business.
Listen, in all my conversations with Adele, and this is true for the other chamber leaders that I speak to as well, but the chamber, I think about the chamber that existed back when I was working. Been retired since 2016. The chamber has changed. It changes with the times. They're very involved, obviously always been involved in leadership development, but they're putting that on steroids. Involved in community development, they're putting that on steroids. Certainly they're doing, as I often say, that what your father's chamber did, focusing on business and things like that. But the chamber effort is multifaceted, isn't it?
It is. And it's, to me, they're like part of my team. It's the marketing part of my team. And so I look to them. They, are educated on all of the things, because of their most of them are certified with the Chamber IOM, I think it is. And now they have the certification, the 4-star certification, accredited. And then they're the only chamber in Mississippi to be accredited, and one of, I think, just a few hundred in the country. So they have all the knowledge, and, for this small chamber fee, you can have them in your pocket. It's just incredible. It's a no-brainer to me, and I think every business would benefit from it.
There's no doubt about it. Ultimately, a chamber should be a partner for your business. It should be. This literally strategic partner you get, and you certainly get that with Mississippi Coast Chamber. Anyway, I look forward to staying. We'll stay in touch, and as you continue to sort of move forward in your presidency, we'll come back together again from time to time and just talk about the latest.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure. This has been Amber Olsen. Thank you, Elmer, and God bless you and your family. And thank you so much for all your hard work. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.